Hello everyone, this is Mr. Horror today. I will be telling you a story about a shadow beast who come out at night to hunt for all those seeking adventures or like camping in the forest at night. Deep within the heart of Hemlock Forest, a legend whispered on the wind. They called it the shadow beast. A creature of pure darkness. Its eyes glowed with an eerie, malevolent light. It stalked the woods, a terror lurking in the shadows, preying on those foolish enough to venture into its domain after nightfall. For generations, parents told their children of the beast. It was a warning, a chilling bedtime story meant to keep them safe. Stay out of the woods, they'd say, especially after dark. Heed the warnings or become another victim of the shadow beast. The legend was etched into the fabric of the town. It was in the creaking branches, the rustling leaves, and the whispers of the wind. Some dismissed it as mere folklore, a spooky tale to scare children. But others, those who knew better, understood the truth hidden within the legend. The forest held secrets, dark and ancient, and within its depths, the shadow beast waited. The sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the forest floor as four friends, Jake, Emily, Ben, and Chloe, ventured deeper into Hemlock. They were young, their laughter echoing through the trees, their backpacks laden with supplies for a weekend camping trip. Their destination, a secluded clearing nestled deep within the woods, a place whispered to be untouched by the darkness that clung to other parts of the forest. They had been planning this trip for months, their excitement growing with each passing day. The crisp autumn air was alive with the scent of pine needles and damp earth. The forest, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, seemed almost welcoming. "You sure about this, Jake?" Chloe asked, a hint of nervousness in her voice. "This part of the woods always creeps me out." Jake, ever the fearless leader, just laughed. "Relax, Chloe, it's just a story, we'll be fine." He slung an arm around her shoulder, pulling her closer. "Besides," he whispered, "what's a camping trip without a little scare?" As darkness enveloped the forest, the friends gathered around a crackling campfire. They shared stories, their laughter a comforting counterpoint to the growing darkness that pressed in from all sides. But with each passing hour, the woods grew quieter, the air thicker. A strange stillness settled over the forest, replacing the earlier sounds of life with an unsettling silence. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath. The laughter died down, replaced by a growing unease. "Did you hear that?" Emily asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Hear what?" Ben replied, his eyes scanning the darkness beyond the firelight. "I thought I heard something," Emily said, her gaze darting nervously between the trees. "Something moving out there." Ben chuckled, trying to sound brave. "It's probably just a deer, Em, or a raccoon. Nothing to worry about." But even as he spoke, a shiver ran down his spine. The forest felt different now, colder, more menacing. The first snap came from just beyond the reach of the firelight, a twig snapping under unseen weight. The friends froze, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. The playful mood from earlier was gone, replaced by a primal instinct to survive. "What was that?" Chloe whispered, her voice trembling. Jake grabbed a burning log from the fire, holding it aloft like a torch. The flames cast flickering shadows that danced and swirled in the darkness, revealing nothing but the dense undergrowth. And then they saw them, two glowing orbs, like embers in the darkness, staring at them from the edge of the woods. They blinked once, twice, their malevolent gaze sending shivers down their spines. The eyes seemed to hang in the air, unattached to any discernible creature. "Guys," Ben said, his voice barely a whisper, "I don't like this. We need to get out of here, now." Section 5. The Shadow Descends. A low growl, guttural and primal, echoed through the trees. The creature was moving closer, its heavy footsteps shaking the ground beneath them. Panic surged through the group. The friends scrambled to their feet, scattering their supplies in their haste to escape the clearing. "Run!" Jake screamed, his voice barely audible over the pounding of his heart. They didn't need to be told twice. They turned and ran, crashing through the undergrowth, their backpacks bouncing painfully against their backs. The creature was faster. It moved like a shadow itself, gliding effortlessly through the trees, its growls growing louder with each passing second. The friends were separated now, their desperate cries swallowed by the darkness. Section 6. Clawing at the edges of light. Chloe stumbled, her foot catching on a gnarled root. She cried out as she fell, the wind knocked from her lungs. She lay there for a moment, gasping for breath, the sounds of her friends' screams fading into the distance. Terror lent her a burst of adrenaline. She scrambled to her feet, her eyes frantically searching for any sign of her friends. But the forest was a maze of shadows and moonlight, every tree seeming to morph into a menacing figure. She ran blindly, her heart pounding in her chest, the sound of her own ragged breathing filling her ears. She could feel the creature's presence behind her, its hot, fetid breath on her neck. It was gaining on her. Section 7. Sprinting through shadow and moonlight. Chloe burst into a small clearing, her lungs burning, her legs screaming for respite. Moonlight bathed the clearing in an eerie glow, revealing a tangle of fallen trees and overgrown bushes. She could go no further. She whirled around, her back against a towering oak, her eyes frantically searching the darkness. Where was it? Had she outrun it? Or was it toying with her, savouring her terror? A low growl, closer now, sent a fresh wave of fear washing over her. It was coming for her. She closed her eyes, bracing herself for the inevitable. Section 8. A guttural howl in the night. The creature emerged from the darkness, its eyes burning like hot coals. It was unlike anything Chloe had ever seen, a grotesque mockery of life itself. Its body was a mass of writhing shadows, its teeth bared in a snarl that promised unimaginable pain. Chloe screamed, a primal sound of pure terror that ripped from her throat. She squeezed her eyes shut, waiting for the end. The creature lunged, its claws outstretched. Chloe braced herself, but the blow never came. She opened her eyes to see the creature standing over her, its attention now focused on something behind her. A blood-curdling scream pierced the night, followed by a sickening crunch. Tears streamed down Chloe's face as she realized the awful truth. The creature had found one of her friends. Section 9. The Sole Survivor. Every instinct screamed at Chloe to run while she still had the chance. She didn't hesitate. She didn't look back. She pushed herself away from the tree, her legs moving before her mind had even caught up. She ran through the moonlit forest, the creature's guttural growls echoing behind her. Branches whipped at her face, thorns tore at her clothes, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. The image of the creature, its claws dripping with blood, fueled her every step. She ran until she collapsed, her body spent, her mind teetering on the brink of madness. She lay there, gasping for breath, listening to the sounds of the forest, waiting for the inevitable. But the creature didn't come. The only sounds were the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Section 10. A legend endures. The sun was rising when Chloe stumbled out of the forest, her clothes torn, her body bruised and blooded. She was the sole survivor of that night of terror, forever marked by the horrors she had witnessed. She told her story, but no one believed her. They dismissed it as shock, as the ramblings of a traumatized girl. They said she had wandered off, gotten lost, that her friends had probably done the same. But Chloe knew the truth. She had looked into the eyes of the shadow beast, and she knew that the legend was real. And so, the legend of the shadow beast lived on, whispered in hushed tones around campfires, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked at the edge of town, waiting to claim its next victims.